Hello everyone, welcome back to my hobby blog. Today I'm going to be talking about my latest reads that I'm doing. I wanted to sort of do a reading check-in video because it's been a few days since I've done any videos, and I thought this one would be the most interesting and the most relevant instead of just kind of doing a random kind of movie review or whatever, which is what I used to do, is I would just kind of wing it and just kind of talk about, something totally random, but I'm trying to have a little bit more structure to my channel. I'm leaning a lot more towards booktube. So I really want to kind of chronicle my journey this year, I guess the second half of the year, and kind of show what books I'm reading, what I'm feeling about the books, kind of give mini reviews as I go along for books that I may not do videos for or discussions on. One of these books I'm reading right now, when I finish the trilogy, I will be doing a group discussion with my book club that I've been reading the trilogy with. So I'm really excited to kind of explain more about that and what books we are going to be talking about. Full spoilers, of course. But I'm really excited to jump into this video. So I'll start with my reread because I kind of want to update people kind of on my Cosmere journey. I know a lot of people who watch this channel know about it and are very interested in kind of where I'm at in the lead up to book 5 of Stormlight Archive, the Wind and Truth, I believe is what it's called. It used to be Knights of Wind and Truth, but my opinion on that is that I felt it was a little clunky. Wind and Truth is a little better, but it doesn't have kind of that, push as much as say Way of Kings or Rhythm of War, which I think is a really great title for an otherwise not so great book, but we'll get into that when I reread that. But the book I'm specifically talking about is this one here. I'm doing the audiobooks this time around. This is my third read through for this series, and this is the Stormlight Archive. I'm currently on book 2, Words of Radiance. I'm really enjoying it this time. I've been listening to it at work on double speed because this is my third time reading this. Every time I start a chapter, all the events of what has happened comes back to me. So I've been really kind of able to cement my knowledge about what is happening in this book. And it's really fun seeing more of the kind of crossovers with Mistborn. I won't go into too deep of detail, but there are some people from Mistborn cultures that are kind of expanded upon in Era 2. And so it's really funny to me reading this book, especially after Era 2, after Lost Metal, because that takes place after Stormlight. So these characters, before they went back to Scadrial for Era 2, they were born on Scadrial, then went to Roshar, where these books are taking place, and were part of that whole thing. And it really makes sense to me now, ever since reading Lost Metal. But it's just really funny that Brandon has had these kind of seeds planted this entire time. Not to mention one of the main character names that a lot of people have picked up on ever since Rhythm of War, and especially Lost Metal. It's been fun hearing that character's name pop up every now and then. But I think my rating is going to go down just a tad bit for this book because, again, this is my third time reading it. I'm not getting much out of it. If anything, I'm feeling a lot more strongly about my opinions because I have a lot more confidence and articulation when it comes to kind of defending my points and sort of discussing books now, because it's been about 4 years since I've last read Stormlight Archive. So it's really interesting to read through these books and kind of be able to shed off all of my early fantasy kind of reading and sort of look at it more objectively rather than just getting really caught up in the Brandon hype, which I think is very warranted. He has a lot of hype to be excited for, but as I grow older and I read a lot more fantasy like Steven Erikson or Book of the New Sun, or even, I'll go into it soon. There's another book specifically I wanted to mention, but I'm reading it right now, so that'll be mentioned here shortly. But ever since I've been reading a lot more fantasy that is a lot more complex and a lot longer even than some of the Stormlight Archive books, which I'll get into one specific example of that. But ever since I've been doing all that, it's just been a lot harder to read Brandon books. I felt it during Lost Metal. I wasn't as excited by that. I do have a review discussion with my friend Chase all about that book, so if you want to know a lot more kind of spoilers and what I feel about that, please go check out that video. But I just really don't gravitate as much to Brandon anymore, and I think that's okay, because after book 5, I'm kind of mentally done with Brandon, because there is such a long time left until we get the final books of the Dragonsteel trilogy, for example. And Era 5, it's been announced that he's adding another era. He is going to go through on the Cyberpunk era, which I'm very excited for. But again, that's just more books for us to wait on and for more answers. And I'm just no longer into that anymore, especially with the state of the world as it is. I'm very cynical now that we will even be alive as a species for much longer because of climate change. So it's really hard for me to drum up excitement for these long-term kind of book series. I wish I still had that, but I think it's all been kind of sapped from me because of just how scary it is nowadays. With every day seems like it's been the hottest day in history since temperatures have been recorded. So it's just, it's hard. So it's really hard for me to get excited anymore. Maybe it's depression, maybe it's something else, but I'm not much of a long-term guy anymore. But on that happy note, let me talk about the next book that I've been reading. This one is book 3 of a trilogy by Robin Hobb called The Liveship Traders, and book 3 is Ship of Destiny. I really enjoyed this cover. It's pretty cool. No spoilers, thankfully, but I'm about 70% of the way done on this book. Me and my book club that I didn't start, but there was a couple of us who all kind of started reading Farseer Trilogy, and we're talking about it, and 2 of us were able to start it at the same time, Liveship Traders, and another person joined in as we started book 2, and they caught up. So I'm really excited to be discussing all 3 books in a kind of spoiler discussion once we finish. It's not scheduled yet. We still gotta finish it. We're all kind of halfway done with the book so far, but I'll also put out a non-spoiler review, just like I did for Farseer Trilogy, which was actually one of the first videos I made, was that book trilogy review. And this is the first trilogy that I feel as if I will reread, but at the same time, I don't know if I will, because just the depth of emotion that Robin Hobb makes the reader feel, especially me, because I'm very sensitive, I really feel the emotions so strongly when I'm reading these books, especially Farseer Trilogy, which was a lot more kind of negative feelings that I was feeling throughout because of all the torture that he goes through. And not physical torture, but mental, spiritual as well. Oh my gosh, the end of book 2 with that series. But just everything about this book series, Realm of the Elderlings, is just so damn good. I love it. But it's a series I don't feel like I need to read again. And I don't really want to read again, because everything is so, like, memorable for me. Like, as I think through the books, like, I don't feel as if I need to reread it unless I want to just kind of go through and look for the, Easter eggs, that now that I have all the information I need for the series and what I, know about, the final few chapters, whatever, I don't know if there's really any other reason to read it again. So that's why I don't have the Farseer Trilogy in my collection anymore, because I just didn't feel like I'd read it again. So I feel like I'm kind of rambling on that point, but I'm loving this series. I love it even more than Farseer Trilogy, as if you've seen the interview or discussion with Philip Chase on my channel, you've already heard that. This series is just a notch better than Farseer Trilogy, and I thought that was one of my favorite trilogies I've ever read. So I'm really excited to finish the Liveship Traders and go on to the Tawny Man trilogy, which I'm still looking for those books at my local used bookstore at McKay's, but haven't been able to find them. I have been able to find the sequel, I guess, Quartet the sequel series for Live Ship Traders, but that is so far ahead, I don't want to get them yet. Maybe I should have. But so far, I don't regret it, because it's going to be another year before I even get to that series. I do want to read Tawny Man by the end of the year, but I don't know how that plan will play out. But another book that I'm reading currently is one that I'm very excited to be reading, and that I mentioned before, but I started back on it last night. I read a good amount of pages, about 20 to 25 pages. And oh my god, it was one of my favorite portions in the book so far. And I'm talking about the epic called the Mahabharata, which is based off of, or basically defined Hindu culture 6,000 years ago, I think the introduction said. But I just got to the part where Bhima and Arjuna and also Krishna, I believe, all come in and battle Jarasandha, and I thought that was one of the coolest and just most effective sections that I've read so far, and I'm about 110 pages in, and I was talking about it with one of my friends like all last night after I reading it, because he has seen the TV show that I don't know who made it, but there's a TV show adaptation of it that's like 107 episodes, I believe. And he and I were just like chatting about it for so long, and I was just like hyped the entire time. And then I was talking about it with coworkers, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, let me tell you about this event." And they didn't really know what was going on, but they enjoy listening to me. So, but yeah, I'm just really enjoying it. I'm trying to go a little faster. I did take like a 2-week break from it, which I sort of regret, but at the same time, I've been able to fly through other books in the meantime. So it's just really hard to get through this book series, but these last few chapters that I read last night were really kind of easier to read. So I'll probably be going a bit faster from here on out. I'm hoping to be. But kind of the last book that I've been sort of reading concurrently has been Book 8 of Malazan Book of the Fallen, Toll the Hounds. Nice little pupper on the front. But I've only read the prologue and the first 2 chapters. I just looked again just to make sure. And I'm loving it. I mean, it's Malazan. It's my shit. It's exactly what I want in a fantasy series. The characters are amazing. I'm loving the kind of catching back up with all these characters we haven't seen since like book 3, I want to say. So that's just been amazing. I'm loving Malazan. One unfortunate thing is ever since book 2, I don't know if it's the whole ending or just an aspect of it, but the ending of book 8 has been spoiled for me in a very vague way, to where I don't know how it happens, and where I don't know who's involved, what's involved. I just know an event happens. For those who have read it, probably understand what that hand motion was, but I am hoping that doesn't kind of ruin the ending, because I haven't had any spoilers whatsoever with this series, and I'm hoping I can stay that way, especially as I go into the final book, or 2 books of the series, Dust of Dreams and The Crippled God, which was originally supposed to be 1 book, but it's perfectly split in half, so they can definitely serve as their own books, as Steven Erikson outlined it as. But that's really all the books I've been reading lately. It's 4 big books. Ship of Destiny isn't as big. It's 820 pages, I think. So not as long, but for anyone who doesn't read fantasy, that's probably a lot of pages, because fantasy tends to get very descriptive. And especially with definitely Malazan is very descriptive. It's very layered and nuanced and complex. Stormlight Archive, I think, is just really wordy. I think Brandon could definitely get a little better at his prose and kind of pacing as well. But Mahabharata is also just swamped with lineages and names and characters having up to 4 different names, which is very similar to Malazan. So that's why I have really been going slow on Mahabharata because I just really want to enjoy it and make sure I have the best experience that I can my first go around. So, without further ado, that's all I have for today. Let me know what you're reading currently, and let me know what you think of the books I'm reading. And am I putting on too many pages and forcing myself to read too much? But I will say with Words of Radiance, I started it Monday. I don't know if I mentioned that, but I'm now 80% done with the book, so I should be done tomorrow. And then I'm thinking about starting the Wheel of Time books again. And I'm not going to do the whole series. I just want to do up to book 6. But that's the plan with my audiobooks because I don't have too many audiobooks. I have the Wheel of Time. I have a lot of kind of standalone books, biographies. And I really want to kind of experience my last go through of Stormlight Archive with audiobooks because I really love what Michael Kramer and Kate Redding have done with the voices. They've really brought the characters to life, which has been really satisfying for me. So I really enjoy that. But anyways, thank you all so much for watching, and please have a great rest of the day.